The third criteria is more a criteria that has to do with protection. We as a country have as one of our principles the protection of the innocent. And many of the people we protect have been persecuted for a number of different reasons, political, religious, and many others. And here in the county that we are today presenting from, we have a number of people that have come as refugees, people from Vietnam, people from different countries in Africa. In fact, Guilford County in North Carolina will have over 40,000 immigrants living, new residents, what we call new North Carolinians in this county. So as you can see, there is one reason why many people would come here, and they come with the help of many Americans. This push and a pull, as I have defined it before, has a lot to do with economic opportunity, families follow families, as well as this idea that we as a country are very serious about protecting the innocent. And many people that really are living here become some of the best citizens in the future because they love the fact that we have provided them with a home. The last component is a component that I certainly, as I started learning more about immigration, is one that speaks to me very loud and clear in terms of what we are as a nation, and that is an immigration lottery. And it doesn't bring many thousands of people every year, but it does give many people in the world an opportunity to join us, because the idea is that we want to represent the world, and that, for me, defines a nation of immigrants. So those four areas and those four criteria could be debated, could be judged. I personally think that is what has made this country a country that has been able to compete, especially the issues of economic opportunity, is a country that's been able to maintain families together, and it is a country that has been perceived in the world as a country that is quite true to the principles of protection of human rights and many other people. So those under that layer, if we move into North Carolina, and we talk a little bit more precise about what happened in the 90s and why this mushrooming of the Latino population, we need to focus on these ideas of the growth of agriculture and the new workers. I have here a map. This is my show my artistic ability. If you believe me that this is the United States map, I actually drew 3 different arrows that represented in the 70s and in the 80s how many farm workers would come to North Carolina. In this case, if you take this one to my right, is that eastern stream that brought farm workers from the Caribbean. I am from Puerto Rico, and I actually took the liberty to make Puerto Rico's map much bigger, which is not true. But many people from Puerto Rico, from the Dominican Republic, joining with Mexico, went to 3 different migrant streams. Most Mexicans obviously went more to the left and to the central part. They actually began that process in the 40s with what we then knew to call the Bracero program, which was actually a concept of a guest worker that was transformed and even stopped based on some difficulties we had with that program. But that initiated in the 40s this out-migration, this pull, and this obviously push of Mexicans into the United States to harvest and to work the fields based on the fact that we were, at that time, fighting a war. In North Carolina, the eastern migrant stream began in the state of Florida and moved all the way up, in many cases, to midwestern states, Wisconsin, and then north side of New York. If you take the case of New Jersey, we have many people from Puerto Rico working in Cranberry. If we take the case of Florida, Oranges, Florida make some changes, mechanize the agriculture, and then North Carolina actually became a much more important state for farm workers to come and settle. Now, that migrant stream was eliminated and not necessarily favorable to many farmers because they depended on crew leaders. And many of these crew leaders were abusing not only the workers, but they were basically in many cases not reliable enough for farmers to depend on them to have ready, steady work. As things move closer to the 90s, and I talked about the meat processing plants, we, as a state, tried a number of different programs. In fact, the guest workers, there is a visa, the H-2A visa became one of the most popular in the state of North Carolina. We happen to have the highest proportion of guest workers in comparison to any other state. And we are, by the way, the 5th largest farm worker state in the nation, but we're the number 1 in the H-2A visas, which is basically workers that come from 6 to 9 months. That's the visa category, and they spend time in farms across the state of North Carolina, working in different kinds of crops, and North Carolina has to prove that labor is needed, and we don't have American workers to do that work. So they have to go through a process through the Department of Labor to get those visas. And we have had close to 10,000 in some years. This coming year, which will be 2009, it is expected that they will probably need about 6,000 people. And we just had conversations with the North Carolina Growers Association, which is the one that implements that program. But that is just one of the many farm workers in agriculture.